Hey, what's up? We're gonna talk about movies I watched in school as a kid, or something they would show us in school that I remember, but can't find it or anything. These are movies mostly like maybe like a PSA type of movie about like drugs, alcohol, that stuff, or maybe just some random movie that you or like video you watched in school, but and you remember it, but you don't know what the heck it is. And these are some that I grew up watching, but or was shown in school, and I would like to talk about them and see if anyone remembers them or can find them, or if you have one, I'd like to hear if you want to share or anything. One that I was shown, I think this was like fourth grade or fifth grade. I remember seeing it like a few times when I was in elementary school. This movie, and it was about this boy. It was a cartoon. It looked like it was from the 80s or 70s, and this boy was like he was animated. It was like a boy walking in like a white background, and and there was this like black blob following him. It was like making a sound like. So I remember it made a sound, or maybe it didn't. But and there was a person talking, like like a narrator saying, "Oh, like this." I don't remember if it was a boy or a girl. It was like a some kind of narrator, and they were like, this is a problem, and it was a metaphor for like having a problem and not talking about it, and then the boy, he would walk and the problem would follow him. It was a black blob, and and all these things, they would show all these other things happening to him, like he'd get involved with bullies, or like they would show like bullies, or then they show his parents or something fighting, so like domestic violence, and the blob would always grow. It would grow like it would get bigger and bigger, and the narrator was like, if you don't talk about your problems, then the problem will get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like if you're, and they showed examples like your parents fighting, or like domestic stuff or drugs, or your what other problems do they bring up? Like, is there any problem in your life that you could, like bullying and drugs and maybe peer pressure? Yeah, and then at the end it just said, so who do we talk to about a problem? And then they would like have like they had different people like popping up in a circle, and they were all animated, and of course the black blob was getting bigger and bigger, and there was a point where it like covered the whole screen. But then they would go cut to the end where it was like you can talk to like a policeman or a fireman or your teacher, or parents, maybe if they're not the ones causing domestic violence, which in that case then they're useless. But anyway, yeah. So that's how it ended. Just saying, oh, you should talk to all these people, like like firemen and whatnot. Firemen. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do about drugs, but they're adults, so or police, or policemen, or teacher. What other ones did they talk about? Well, you get the idea. It was just adults. So that's one that I watched, or shown. This is probably like fourth, and I think in fifth grade they showed it to us too at some point. And I've looked all over the internet typing in like the scenario, and I could not find it for the life of me. So that's one. Another one. This is not like a PSA thing, but it was just some random thing we watched. Was I think this might have been based off of a book or some kind of short story about these kids that live in this world or some kind of planet where it rains constantly, and there's like this one time in the year, or not even in a year, but like a century or something, where it clears up for like 10 minutes, and in this world it's raining. It's like drabby and depressing and dark, and the kids, they go out, and or they have this thing where they go out and they celebrate this, like because it's coming this day where it's all clear, and so there's this group of kids, and they go to a school, and I guess they have this argument, this one kid, and he was like he was arguing with a friend or something, and they play this really mean trick on him, because this whole thing that's happening where it clears up, and the sun comes up. Like this happens once a century, so it's really, really these kids are gonna just see this once in their lifetime. And it was over a stupid small little problem. So they play a prank on him by they lock him in a closet while everyone else, all these other kids in the school, go outside and enjoy it. It was so cheesy. Like this was probably from the 70s too, or something like that, or 80s. And the sun clears up, or I mean, yeah, the sky clears up, and the sun comes out, and these kids are all happy. They're smiling, and this one kid got locked in the closet because they were being dicks to him. And so, they were enjoying this 10 minutes of, clear weather and the flowers just blossom. Like, that wouldn't happen, but that's what they did in this movie. And so these kids come back and they all have flowers in their hands. They picked them, and the boy finally gets out of the closet somehow. And I guess as an apology, these kids give him all the flowers that they picked and stuff for being assholes. And so this kid will never know what it feels like, what the sun and what clear weather is, because this world or planet they live in, or maybe it's just the future Earth where that's what happens with global warming. It just rains every day. That would suck. But anyway, yeah, that was another movie we watched. It was really short. It was just maybe it was based on some kind of a short story or something. If anyone knows, please write a comment or something. And then there is one more. This one was about I mean, there was ones I remember and I found, but this is another one. It was an animated, like it had Wizard of Oz characters, and it was animated, and like Dorothy and all the Scarecrow, the Wizard of Oz gang, they all go to this, like, they find this laboratory, and they find like a microscope and things where you can like medical equipment, and they're all like, oh, this is so cool and advanced, and like I guess they're just talking about how this stuff's important. Well, they talked about how I get it, because like your heart's important. So the Tin Man who doesn't have a heart is like, oh, a heart is really important and keeps us alive. So we watched something like that. That was probably from like the 70s too, because I think like back in those days there was a lot of like strange like movies they showed school kids and all. Except it wasn't on a tape. We watched them on tape. It was like back in the day that we have that reel thingy, like film, and that was before my time. I mean, this is the 90s, or VHS was a thing. I'm sure maybe there was a school somewhere out there, maybe I don't know, poor places where people have all that. But so yeah, those are three I remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm just thinking if there's any other ones. Not that I know of right now. If I think of any more, I'll make a part two to this. But right now, I think that's all the ones I know of. So if you have any you would like to share, please just write a comment or something like that. So yeah, take care, guys. Peace.